Hey friend, Roger Christopherson here again with another first listen review. And even though this isn't entirely a first listen review, and I'll explain that in a minute, I'm still going to babble about it anyway. There was not a whole lot of new stuff, as I may have mentioned in one of my other videos this week. However, the reissues this week were pretty cool. This is one of those, I guess we're calling it the expanded edition, and I am babbling about Balance from Van Halen. It was the last album to feature Sammy Hagar on lead vocals. Some people may have rejoiced at that, and some people may have been very upset with that. Depends on which camp you're from. I'm kind of from the camp. I like both versions of the band. I don't know if some days I have like one version better than the others, but I like Eddie Van Halen's playing no matter what, the version of the band it was. So that always made it worth it for me. It was just having Eddie just playing and doing what he does. So I remember when this album came out, I was actually like really into Van Halen at this point in time. I actually had seen them, I can't remember, I think it was on the previous tour. Geez, it's hard to remember all this stuff going back these many years. But I did see Van Halen. It was on the Monsters of Rock, so it probably was not the album before this, From Left with Carnal Knowledge. It's probably 5150. I really don't remember, but got to see them. And from that point on, I was like, I just couldn't, every other band kind of paled in comparison to Van Halen from that point on for a few years, because live they just kind of blew me away. And it was quite an important moment in my life. That's that one concert, and I saw a bunch of bands that I like, was Metallica and Scorpions, Kingdom Come, and Doc, and I think that was all of them. But anyway, that was a pretty cool day, and I just remember that it topped it off with Van Halen. And so anyway, when this album came out, I was like really excited about it, and I remember just putting it on and hearing the first track, The Seventh Seal, just being completely blown away. And I listened to this album a lot. It's funny now, like looking back, because this album is like really, for me, is really strange now going back to it, because I know I kind of developed this opinion like early on that it has some of my favorite songs from Van Halen on it, and it has some of my least favorite songs from Van Halen. It's like a really weird combination of stuff going on in this album. And I have to admit that over the years, this is probably one of the ones I go back to not very often. However, I had already talked about this one a little bit when I talked about the remaster when they did the stuff back in 2023. So that's what this remix is. This is it's actually not a remix, I misspoke, it's a remaster. And I spoke about that, but listening, I did go back and listen to it all again. And I don't remember what I said about that one, but when first impressions again, listening to it again, was, that's low end is a little bit thicker, and the snare hits a little bit harder in this one. And the guitar comes through a little bit clearer. And the funny part is, as I was listening to this again, I was like, you know what? Eddie's sound on this album is really thin, and he has a lot of clean stuff going on, which I never really, I don't know if I've never noticed or never really thought about too much before. But he doesn't have, even on the heavier songs on here, like the really heavy ones, when I say really heavy, but for it's Van Halen, it's not, they always have a little bit of a pop element to it, but like Amsterdam is what I'm talking about, or Beluchitherium, even though it's just an instrumental thing, that's supposed to be pretty heavy. It's really, the guitar sound itself is still not that thick, heavy sound we're used to hearing. I know they call it the brown sound. I don't really hear that here, but yet it still sounds like Eddie. It's just proof that guitar players' sound comes from their fingers a lot of the times. It's from them. It's not all the gear and all the sound stuff. Like the really super gifted ones have that sound just coming off their fingertips. And this album kind of proves that, because the guitar sound itself is completely different from early stuff, even stuff early on in the Sammy Hagar. Even the album before this, it's I think it maybe gradually got thinner as time went on and more clean, but I noticed that a lot as I was listening to this. But anyway, I mean, everybody who's a Van Halen fan has probably heard this song or this album, and it's got some really cool songs on it. Some of my favorites, You Actually Can't Stop Loving You is a good song. Funny, the second single, Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do, is not one of my favorite songs of theirs. However, Not Enough, I think, was great. And actually Feeling was pretty good too. Oh my gosh, I got people calling me in the middle. I never turned my phone off. Let me get that off of there. And so the funny part is I talk about this a lot. When I get stuff with bonus stuff on it, I usually go straight to the bonus stuff, and that is actually what I did here. I went to the bonus stuff. And of course, it starts with the bonus disc starts with Crossing Over, which is like a B-side. I've heard that before, and I actually remember an interview with Sammy Hagar where he's talking about the song, and it has to do with somebody he knows. I can't remember the relative or friend, something, crossing over to the other side after they had passed away. Cool, deep, lyrics and stuff like that. However, the song itself didn't do a whole lot for me. I thought it was a decent song, but it's just, I see why it was a B-side. It wasn't one of those ones that was ever going to stand out on an album, but it's, a cool story behind it anyway. And then, of course, it has Humans Being and Respect the Wind from the Twister soundtrack. Also, a couple songs which never really were all that important in my life anyway. Humans Being just has them doing a weird vocal thing in it. The music itself is great. Although there's not a whole lot of singing in that song. I didn't realize how much emptiness as far as vocals goes, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on guitar in that song. It's actually just the vocal part I don't like in that song. The chorus is cool, but the rest of it I could deal without. But Eddie's doing some pretty cool stuff in that song, and Respect the Wind's decent. But where the real bread and butter in this one was for me, the really important stuff was the live stuff from the Live at Wembley Stadium in London, England, June 24th, 1995. And I didn't know until today that they were actually opening up for Bon Jovi at that show, which just seems kind of unreal to me. But I had really enjoyed listening to this part of the whole deal here. This was like what I thought was actually the best part. The sound quality was really good, especially for a live show. I was actually really surprised how well this sounded. This is all unreleased. I don't know of any where it's been released before. They're saying it's unreleased. I don't remember hearing it ever before. So for me, it was all brand new. Started with it's got the Seventh Seal, opens up, killer song. I think that's a great way to start a concert. I remember seeing something on TV, it's probably MTV, where they had a concert and they opened with that song too. And I remember thinking that same thing. That was a really good opening song. And then it goes into Feeling, which is a pretty decent song. That's also off that album. But the funny part for me was they did Ain't Talking About Love, which I don't remember seeing me doing a whole lot. Maybe they did on other tours and stuff. I don't remember hearing that one too often with Sammy singing. So that was kind of a cool little treat. And then Eddie does his kind of like a shorter version of this solo, Eruption that he normally does. It wasn't that really long one like they were doing when 5150 first came out. But anyway, that was interesting, and it went right into You Really Got Me. So I don't know if they did that just because it was a shorter show. Maybe that's why, I don't know. But it was fun hearing that, go right into each other live again with Sammy singing You Really Got Me. Just some oddball stuff going on this one. And then they did When It's Love. Also, a song I used to play in a band way back in the day. And then Jump, another one, unexpected song there from this time frame anyway. And then it ended with Right Now, which I've also played, which is actually an awesome song to play. It's a fun song, one of my favorites of theirs actually. And I don't know, I could have dealt with a little bit more. I was hoping that there was going to be some more live stuff maybe, but that was like the best part of it for me was listening to that live. So I really enjoyed that part of it. I know they filmed some other stuff during this time. I know they did like a couple shows, and I can't remember where they were. I remember reading up on it, and now I can't remember where it was, but they did Minneapolis. I knew I just read that somewhere that they had filmed some stuff for a video and whatever. None of that's included in anything here, and I have seen stuff from that, but it's been so long I don't remember even where that was from, or if I have it, I probably recorded it off of MTV or something back in the day when they broadcast. I have so many VHS tapes from way back that I'll never watch that I'm sure it's in there somewhere, but maybe someday they'll re-release that with an audio, CD and Blu-ray or something. Then there's a Blu-ray included in this, which I haven't even gotten to at all, but it's usually with the least thing I'm worried about in these reviews. I care less about the Blu-ray most of the time. I just want to listen to the music. So that's what I did and really enjoyed it. So anyway, I know I went on quite, about as long as I normally do, I guess. So feel free to comment on this if you've heard it. What do you think of it? What do you think of the remaster? All that, fun stuff. What do you think of the album? Whatever you feel like. That's what it's all about. Just chit-chatting. My opinion may differ 100 degrees, 180 degrees from yours. No big deal. We all have different opinions, and none of them really seem to matter at the end of the day as long as we are enjoying, what it is we're talking about. So that's what this is all about. So feel free to like, share, and subscribe just to keep this music alive, because hopefully we'll dig some more stuff out of the vaults. And until then, we will see you.